want to talk about pivots to a wonderful story that we produced yesterday, which centered on man. How AI went from nuclear bunker to stardom at giant. It says at Giant Hedge Fund, which was, of course, your company. So many questions. What can let's look at it this way. What can humans do that AI either can't or won't be able to do?
Okay, well, so we don't really think it's AI. We think it's machine learning, and there is a distinct difference. AI is a little bit of a science fiction term. Machine learning is what we actually do.
We'll call it machine learning.
I'd like that. So I think the things that machine learning can do and benefits from the fact that the amount of data out there has increased so dramatically, the fact that storing that data has become incredibly cheap, and the fact that the cost of processing it and doing things with it has also become incredibly cheap. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. If you don't know how to use those tools, it's a threat for you, and it's a bad thing as a fund manager. If you are able to build the technology and harness it, it's a fantastically powerful thing. There are still, though, as you say, quite clearly things that our machines have not learnt how to do. We've taught them how to read. They can't read very well. That they can read a lot. So, for example, earnings call transcripts, we can read all the earnings calls all the time in real time, and that's great. What we can't do with the machines is come up with massively insightful conclusions. So we've got breadth, but we don't have depth when we're looking at reading. And that applies to all sorts of other things, reading legal documents, understanding bond prospectuses, things like that. The machines haven't really worked out how to do that yet.
Sandy, at what point do you anticipate machines will be able to do those kinds of things? Even just something as simple as more accurately predicting company earnings?
Well, I think more accurately predicting company earnings is something that we and probably many others are working on very actively right now. So there are many ways you can do that, but essentially what you try and do is encompass as much of the available information as possible, and more than a human could probably digest on their own. Reading is harder. There is definitely reading going on. Reading really technical stuff, so bond prospectuses, I'd use an example, you know, where the comma lies in a particular clause can completely change the meaning of that clause, and that's a while off. So that you don't need to worry about that. The lawyers are safe.